It was a normal Tuesday evening in Fort Myers, Florida. Families were out shopping, friends were grabbing dinner, kids were laughing. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until the shots rang out. 49 bullets, fired in under a minute. 2 young men, dead. Another, seriously injured. And just like that, the shooter vanished. No name, no arrest, no justice. In a place full of people, with surveillance cameras all around. How does someone unload an assault rifle and walk away into the night? This is the story of the Bell Tower murders, a brutal, cold-blooded crime that shattered lives, left a community terrified, and still has no answers. Years later. And the scariest part? The person who did it could be walking free right now. October 9th, 2018. It was a warm evening in Fort Myers, Florida. The Bell Tower shops were buzzing like usual, a cozy open-air mall with twinkling lights, music in the background, and the smell of food in the air. It's the kind of place where people feel safe, where families come to unwind, where birthdays are celebrated, and where life feels normal. That night, inside TGI Fridays, a group of friends had gathered to celebrate a birthday. Laughs were shared, food was ordered, and the mood was light. Among the group was 25-year-old Kevin Robinson, a big-hearted guy, always smiling, always cracking jokes. He was known to be the kind of person who made others feel welcome. With him was Javarcia Riggins, just 22, young, driven, kind. He had dreams and people who believed in him. That night, he was simply there to enjoy good food, good company, and a moment of peace. No one at that table could have imagined what was coming. Just outside the restaurant, a car was pulling up, its headlights dim, its windows dark. Inside, someone was watching. Within moments, the night would turn from celebration to horror. It happened fast. So fast that most people didn't even realize what was going on until it was too late. Just outside the restaurant, a dark-colored car rolled to a stop in the parking lot. The driver didn't shout, didn't speak. He just stepped out of the vehicle and opened fire. An AR-15 style rifle, military-grade power in the hands of a killer. 49 rounds were fired in a matter of seconds. 49. The shots echoed off the buildings, rattled windows, and sent people diving under tables, running through the plaza, screaming for help. Kevin Robinson was hit. So was Javarcia Riggins. Another man, caught in the chaos, was wounded but survived. And just as quickly as it began, it was over. The gunman ran back to his car, got in, and vanished into the night. No one chased him. No one even saw where he went. By the time police arrived, the shooter was gone, leaving behind nothing but shell casings, broken glass, and 2 dying men. First responders tried to save them, but Kevin and Javarcia were pronounced dead at the scene. The parking lot, just moments earlier full of laughter and music, was now a crime scene. Sirens wailed, yellow tape went up, and the questions began piling up. Who was this man? Why did he open fire? And how did he manage to do it in such a public place, without leaving a single trace? Within minutes, the Bell Tower shops were flooded with flashing lights. Police, paramedics, and investigators rushed in, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Shoppers were trapped inside stores, hiding behind counters. Some were in shock. Others were crying. No one knew if the shooter was still nearby. Helicopters hovered overhead. Roads were blocked off. It felt like the entire area had frozen in fear. Kevin Robinson and Javarcia Riggins were already gone. The third victim, whose name was never officially released, was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. Somehow, he survived. But he never spoke publicly about what he saw that night. Police immediately called it a targeted attack, but they didn't say who the target was, or why, or how they knew that. No suspect description, no surveillance footage released, no persons of interest named, nothing. People started asking questions. How does someone fire 49 rounds in a public space and disappear without anyone catching a glimpse? There were cameras everywhere, eyewitnesses, cell phones, yet no usable footage, no video of the shooter's face, no license plate, nothing they could follow. For the families, this silence was unbearable. For the public, it was chilling, because if someone could do this, with that kind of firepower in that kind of place, and walk away clean, who's really safe, and who's next? It's easy to hear about a shooting and just focus on the numbers. 2 people dead, 1 injured, 49 shots fired. But these weren't just numbers. They were people, with families, with dreams, with people who loved them. Kevin Robinson was 25 years old, born and raised in Fort Myers. He wasn't perfect, like most people, but he had a good heart. He was the kind of guy who lit up a room when he walked in. Kevin was known for being funny, loyal, and always looking out for his friends. He had goals. He was trying to move forward with his life. And on that night, he was just out celebrating someone's birthday, a normal night out with people he cared about. Javarcia Riggins was only 22, still figuring things out, still building his future, but he had time. Or so everyone thought. He had just landed a new job. He had plans, a tight group of family and friends that meant everything to him. People who described him as kind-hearted, chill, and always respectful. Neither Kevin nor Javarcia knew that night would be their last, and maybe that's the hardest part to accept. They weren't doing anything wrong. They weren't causing trouble. They were just living. And then, in a flash, they were gone. No goodbyes, no explanation. Just a hole left behind in 2 families that has never fully healed. In the hours and days after the shooting, Fort Myers police told the public one thing. This was not random. They said it was a targeted hit, that someone came to that parking lot with a plan, and they executed it with brutal precision. But that's where the answers stopped. No suspects were named, no arrests were made. And slowly, the updates stopped coming. Despite dozens of witnesses, surveillance cameras, and a high-powered rifle being used in a public place, the case went quiet. The shooter's face? Never released. The getaway car? Described only vaguely, dark-colored, maybe a sedan. No license plate captured, no make or model confirmed. There were rumors that the gunman knew exactly where the victims were sitting, that he waited for the right moment. But police never confirmed that. Kevin's family pleaded for answers. Javarcia's family was left in the dark. The community wanted justice, but what they got was silence. Months passed, then years, and the bell tower murders slowly faded from the headlines, like so many other shootings that start with outrage and end with no resolution. To this day, no one has been charged. No one has been publicly identified. And whoever pulled that trigger 49 times has never answered for what they did. Which raises a terrifying thought. Did they plan it so well, they knew they'd get away with it? When you think about it, the bell tower murders don't just shock because of the violence. They shock because of what didn't happen. No one saw the shooter's face. No one got a clear license plate. No one heard a single word from the killer. 49 shots, in a crowded place, and yet no solid leads. That's what keeps this case so haunting. How do you pull off something so public, so violent, and vanish without a trace? Was the shooter a professional? Did he know exactly where to stand, when to shoot, and how to escape? Or was this a message? A warning? The fact that the victims were targeted and the gunmen took no chances, suggests a plan. But who planned it? And why? No official answers have ever come, just silence. And that silence? It's the loudest thing of all. So what could have led to such a brutal attack? One theory is that it was gang-related. Fort Myers, like many cities, struggles with gang violence. Some believe Kevin or Javarcia might have been mistaken for someone else, caught in a deadly crossfire. Another idea? Personal vendetta. Maybe the shooter held a grudge, a private conflict that exploded in the worst way possible. Some even suggest mistaken identity, that the shooter targeted the wrong people entirely. Then there's the chilling possibility that this was meant as a message, a show of power to others in the area. But here's the problem. None of these theories have been confirmed. No one has stepped forward. No witnesses have come forward with answers. And without concrete evidence, the truth remains buried beneath layers of silence and speculation. What's clear is this: the violence wasn't random. It was planned, precise, and deadly. But the why, the motive, that's still the greatest mystery. Behind every statistic, every headline, there are families shattered by loss. Kevin Robinson's family has spoken openly about the pain that lingers every day. His mother, his sister, they remember him as a son, a brother, someone full of life and laughter. They've been left with unanswered questions, and the silence from the investigation only deepens their grief. Javarcia Riggins' loved ones share the same pain. A young man taken too soon, a future stolen away in an instant. Both families have called for justice, for closure, but years have passed with no arrests, no suspects, no answers. Their grief is a heavy reminder that behind the news stories are real people waiting for the truth. And while the world moves on, their hearts remain stuck in that night, hoping for someone, anyone, to bring justice. When news of the Bell Tower murders broke, the entire Fort Myers community was shaken to its core. People who once felt safe at the Bell Tower shops now looked over their shoulders. Vigils were held, candles lit. Strangers came together to mourn 2 young lives lost far too soon. But with the shooter still out there, fear lingered. Many wondered if it was only a matter of time before something like this happened again. Local leaders promised to increase security and push for answers, but the silence from the investigation left many feeling helpless. The shooting became a painful reminder of how violence can strike anywhere, even places where we think we're safe. And until the case is solved, that fear remains. The Bell Tower murders is more than just a tragic shooting. It's a haunting reminder of how quickly life can change, how innocent people can become victims, and how sometimes justice remains just out of reach. 49 shots fired. 2 young men lost. A community left searching for answers. And still, the killer walks free. What really happened that night? Was it a planned hit? A case of mistaken identity? Or something else entirely? We may never know. But one thing is clear. The victims deserve to be remembered, and their families deserve answers. If enough people keep asking questions, maybe someday the truth will come to light. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.